My landlord sold the house, but forgot I had a clause that changed everything. I had been living in that house for almost 4 years. Nothing fancy. Just a quiet 2-bedroom place in a decent neighborhood. Good rent, stable landlord. No problems, at least that's what I thought. My lease was simple, or at least it looked simple. 12 pages. Standard terms. Rent, maintenance, notice period. But there was one clause, buried near the end. A clause I didn't fully understand when I signed it. And honestly, I forgot about it. Until the day everything changed. It started with a knock on the door. Saturday morning. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, 2 people stood outside. A man in a suit and a woman holding a folder. Hi, the man said. We're here to inspect the property. I frowned. Inspection? He smiled politely. Yes, the property has been sold. That was the first time I heard about it. No call, no email, nothing. Just strangers at my door telling me my home belonged to someone else. I stepped outside. Sold to who? I asked. He introduced himself as the new owner. Just like that. Casual, like it was no big deal. Behind him, the woman started taking notes. Looking at the walls, the windows, the roofline. I felt something shift in my chest. Not panic, not yet, but something close. What happens to me? I asked. The man adjusted his sleeve. Well, he said, we plan to renovate the property. Renovate. That word never means anything good for tenants. So you'll need to vacate, he continued. How long? 30 days. 30 days. After 4 years. I nodded slowly. Didn't argue. Didn't react. Just listened. Because something in the back of my mind felt off. Not about the sale. About the certainty in his voice. Like he already assumed I had no choice. That night I pulled out my lease. The same document I hadn't looked at in years. I read it carefully. Line by line. Page after page. Until I reached the last section. And there it was. The clause. Tenant retains right of first refusal in the event of property sale. I read it again. Slower. Then again. Just to be sure. Right of first refusal. That meant something very specific. If the landlord decided to sell the property, I had the legal right to match any offer. Before the sale could go through, my heartbeat picked up. I grabbed my phone, looked it up, confirmed it. Again and again. There was no mistake. That clause gave me priority. The chance to buy the house before anyone else. And no one had told me. Not the landlord, not the buyer. No one! Which meant one thing. They had either ignored it or hoped I wouldn't notice. The next morning I made a call. A lawyer. I emailed him the lease. Highlighted the clause. Waited. A few hours later he called back. His tone was calm. But direct. This changes everything, he said. I leaned forward. Explain. If the property was sold without giving you the opportunity to exercise your right, he paused. The sale may not be valid. Silence. I let that sink in. Not valid? Or at the very least, legally challengeable. That was enough. The following day I contacted my landlord. For the first time since the inspection, I kept it simple. I reviewed my lease. You sold the property without honoring my right of first refusal. There was a long pause. Then he said something that told me everything. I didn't think that clause still applied. Didn't think. Or didn't want it to. Either way, it didn't matter. Because contracts don't care what you think. They care what's written. Within hours, things changed. The new owner called me. His tone was different now. Less confident. More careful. We may need to revisit the terms, he said. Revisit. That was one way to put it. My lawyer stepped in. Discussions began. Negotiations. Because now I had leverage. Real leverage. They had 2 options. Undo the deal or work with me. Undoing it would cost them time and money. So they chose the second option. They asked if I wanted to buy the property. I hadn't planned on it. But now, I considered it. I requested the sale price. Reviewed the numbers. Talked to my bank. And realized something unexpected. I could afford it. Barely. But realistically, days passed. Offers were paused. Lawyers went back and forth. Then everything came down to one question. Stay or walk away with compensation. They offered money. A lot of it. Enough to leave quietly. For a moment, I considered it. It would be easier. But something didn't sit right. Not after how it started. So I made my decision. I exercised the clause formally in writing. I matched the offer. And just like that, everything changed. The sale transferred. Not to the investor. To me. The tenant they thought they could remove in 30 days. Closing took a few weeks. But when it was done, nothing looked different. Same walls. Same rooms. Same neighborhood. But the feeling had changed. Completely. Because I didn't just live there anymore. I owned it. And the clause I almost forgot was the only reason why.